Just a second. Where did my music go? Yeah, this time it wasn't OBS crashing. It was the NVIDIA encoder falling over. And I realized that something was wrong when the music stopped. You can't hear the music either, can you? I don't see any activity on the meter here. Why is that? Let's see what I need to restart. It's really getting hot in here as well. Maybe no, it's not too hot. It's 26 degrees. It's not cold, definitely, but should be fine. I don't think the machine is overheating. Now, let's go back to my playlist. How very strange. Okay, that's working again. Now let's see if let me restart a few things here. Reconnect all the pieces. Stage 1 cooling. And then opening the door to get a draft. Get a draft going. Okay, I think we're back in business. That looks good. Okay, so sharing. I guess I'll add a share for kind of a personal use for different users. So we have Mount Rust here, and I guess we'll do something like home or homes. We'll call the share itself home. Oh, there is a time machine shares as well. That's really useful too. Even though I wanted to use my Synology for backup, so I guess that's not going to matter much in the short term. Let's see. Multi-user time machine, multi-protocol, NFS and SMB shares. Yeah, I think that does make sense. SMB warm. Files become read-only via SMB after 5 minutes. That's also interesting. That I can't think of a use case out of right away, but that sounds interesting. Write once, read many mode. Storage, home directories. Okay. Let's go into the advanced options. Enable our ACL. Yeah, that's definitely useful, especially for SMB. Not read-only, browsable, yes. Allow guest access. No specific hosts that I would allow or deny. Look at that. Use as home share. What does this mean in true NAS terms? Allows the share to host user home directories. Each user is giving a personal home directory when connecting to the share, which is not accessible by other users. Exactly that what I need here. This allows for a personal dynamic share. Only one share can be used as the home share. So actually, yes, I'll tick that. And that way I can... Well, let's still keep the path homes, I guess. It does make sense. We're not going to use Time Machine with that. Shadow copies? For VSS clients, I guess that's only for Windows machines. I don't see myself using that. I don't know if there's a downside either. No, I'm not running lots of Windows stuff, so we won't need that. Export recycle bin. Files that are deleted from the same dataset are moved to the recycle bin and do not take any additional space. Deleting files over an NFS will remove the files permanently. When the files are in a different dataset or a child dataset, they are copied to the dataset where the recycle bin is located. To prevent excessive storage space usage, files larger than 20 megabytes are deleted rather than moved. This is not a replacement for ZFS snapshots. Well, not necessary, I don't think. Use Apple-style character encoding. We might want to connect one or two Macs. I guess I'd rather enable that. That's a funny option here. Enable FZRP. What's that? Support for the file server remote VSS protocol. This protocol allows our PC clients to manage snapshots for a specific SMB share. Yeah, we don't need that. Okay, I guess we're good. What is access-based share enumeration? Restrict share visibility to users with read or write access to the share. Oh, no, not necessary. People can see the share even if they don't have access. Ah, VSS is volume shadow copy services. Okay. Balthazar, which option did you refer to when you said you want that? The Apple-style character encoding. Okay, great. Let's do this then. Yeah, as far as I understand it, VSS is kind of a versioning, for lack of a better word, mechanism that is used by Windows file servers, and TrueNAS can emulate that using ZFS snapshots. Okay, let's add this. Validation error. The path must reside within a pool mount point. Path does not exist. Did I have to create that first? I guess. Select pool, dataset, or directory to share. So we'll have to create the directory first. Okay, fine. I guess we'll go to datasets, Rust. And let's add a dataset here. Parent path is Rust, and we'll use homes. That's also where we define quota and stuff. Oh, F in the chat for Exegete's Raspberry Pi. This comment here puts me in my place. This feature is memory intensive and permanently affects how the data is stored. It is recommended to be very familiar with the benefits and drawbacks of deduplication before activating this feature. So let's not be hasty, I would say. Okay. So did it simply overheat, or... Yeah, I can imagine it'll want to keep these hashes in memory to do deduplication. If it has to make a lookup on disk for each and every file, that's not going to be efficient. Yeah, it'll definitely need more. Yeah, that's when ZFS starts using up a lot of memory. I remember. Hearing about that. Okay, so case sensitivity is sensitive, shared type is generic. Shall we look at advanced options, even though I'm not yet familiar with that stuff? This data set, here we can define a quota, for example. Specify a maximum allowed space for this data set. So let's say we allow 1 TB byte in quota. No reserved space. No encryption, no deduplication. This looks okay. So now we have Rust homes, and now we can turn this directory or this data set into a share. Let's go ahead and add a new window share. Now I don't have to enter that path manually. I can simply click on homes. Name is going to be home. Default share parameters. What did we choose earlier? Multi-protocol shares, because I'd like to share that via NFS2. User home shares. And then we'll have the ACL. It's browsable, no enumeration. Use as a home share, yes please. No time machine, we'll add that separately if we ever need time machine. A backup space. I mean, shadow copies is enabled by default, so I guess we'll leave it on. And I'll also check Apple style character encoding. And that should do it. And now we also have to start the SMB service, otherwise defining a share doesn't make much sense. So yes, please start that now and in the future automatically. Lots of stuff in the ACL, in the access control list already, only for the user root. So we'll also have to add users to the NAS. Where might that happen? Data protection is interesting in terms of the ZFS maintenance. So here's the scrub task that will run on the Rust pool at midnight Sundays. Yes, that's fine. And there aren't any cloud sync or rsync tasks yet, which of course will be handy, for example, to create a backup of the whole storage pool. What about network? There's nothing spectacular in here. We are running on IP address 222, and it uses my Pi-hole server as its name server, which in this case is okay. I mean, infrastructure services like this NAS might be actually better off talking directly to my router and therefore to the internet without being filtered by Pi-hole, but for the time being, I guess we are fine. Here we go. This is credentials, and that's where we create local users and groups. But before I do that, let's go back to the data set actually, because I'd like to export that as a, not to the shares, because I'd like to add a NFS share as well. No specific networks or hosts. Do we map users to something specific? I don't think so. Security is going to be system security. We don't have any Kerberos or stuff in place. We'll have to basically either add specific hosts or add the whole network. I guess we can add the whole network. And yes, please enable this service. So now we have homes exported as NFS and as SMB. I'll also experiment with iSCSI at a later time. I guess all that's left is define groups and users. So I guess we should definitely let's see, do we, what kind of groups do we already have in here? There is a users group that I think we can reuse actually. So let's go back to credentials, local users. Now there's only root and admin. Admin is what I logged in as. So all I'll do is add my own user. Okay, let's add my email as well. I think I'll reuse my password from the Synology NAS, so let's grab that. Oh, I don't think I can copy that from host to host. Just a second. I need to tackle that differently. Okay, that's better. User ID 3000. Auxiliary groups, primary group, create new primary group. I guess we'll create one for each new user, huh? Yeah, with the same name as the user. Okay, that's fine. Directories and permissions. We'll have to add that in here, I guess. So I'll have to add a directory first, or a data set. Oh, I can actually say create home directory. Create a new home directory for user within the selected path. Nice. User group other. Since we are talking about home directories, I think we should make those a little bit more restrictive. And then, oh, we can actually directly add authorized keys for SSH access. For key-based authentication. I wonder how... Okay, that'll allow me to log into TrueNAS directly. Not sure if I actually need to do that, but it is nice. So, guess I'll copy my key. Oops. That wasn't a great idea. Okay, yeah, so we'll have to re-enter that. Once again. I'll finish that quickly. Home directory under this path. No access for other people. You know what? I'll add these authorized keys later. Shell. Oh, let's make this a bash shell. Even though I'm not going to add a key right away. Not locked. Allow all sudo commands. Yeah, why not? Samba authentication. What does that mean? Set to allow user to authenticate. Oh, yes, of course. The reason that's in there is if I want my password that I just entered, not only to use it for a login to the Linux-based system, but also for authentication against the SMB share, then I'll need to tick this option because Samba uses its own, or Windows actually uses its own hashing algorithm. And since password authentication works like I'm only storing a hash, and once you enter a password, I'll use my hash algorithm and compare the result to the one that I've stored. we need actually 2 hashes for 2 different hash algorithms. So there needs to be a hash for the Linux password authentication and another hash for the Windows password authentication. So that's why TrueNAS here offers Samba authentication as an option, because it takes the password that I've entered in clear text and turns that into both a Linux and a Windows hash respectively. So let's save that, and we have our own user. And I guess if I copy my password, I should be actually able to log in using SMB. So let me do that. Not sure if I still have my password in the clipboard. Just let's make sure that's the case. And if I go into my file manager, other locations, Windows network, unable to access location. That's a pity. Nope, that does not work, but not to worry. Let's access the server directly. 192.168.1.222. I guess we'll use an SMB URL here. It uses domain Samba. No idea if that's actually the case. And if I enter my password here from the clipboard, username gwiz is actually correct. I guess we'll remember this password. Let's connect. And here we are. There's gwiz, my home directory, with initial files in here. That's the Linux home. And then there's homes, the share, that points to my home directory as well. Did the share end up being called homes after all? Interesting. But first, yay, it worked. So that was straightforward. Let me go back to shares. The share name is home, but the path is homes. And apparently that's how it works. Okay, not to worry. All right, so let's go back to the dashboard. There we go. TrueNAS is really efficient. Look, I had it's an 8 GB VM, and there's still 6 gigs free. Well, we haven't done anything with it, to be fair, but still. Storage, everything is green here. Pool status mount rust. Network. This is all very nice. CPU usage, 0% average usage. Okay, I guess it's time to think about what to do with this NAS, huh? So I guess one of the next things I'd like to do is port over my media collection and the Jellyfin media server, because that's one of the reasons why I'm running out of space on the old Synology NAS. That'll take quite a bit of time to copy over. However, both servers are connected to the same switch, so that's definitely something good. All right. Yeah, so what am I going to do with this? Balthasar? Yeah, I thought about it. Why? Is there an issue? Okay. Yeah, I'm all open. Why wouldn't I want to benefit from your experience? Use NFS over SMB. Okay. Maybe I can even mount the NFS share on the Synology NAS and copy in there directly. So I'd create a data set for media and expose that over NFS, I guess. You're going from one POSIX file system to another. Keep all your permissions and such for your migration. Yeah, you're right. I guess we'll have to change usernames, user IDs, rather, because that'll definitely change, but other than that, it'll be fine. I guess I'm going to run... So let's think this through, how this is going to work. Because I'm not going to run Jellyfin on TrueNAS, which would be possible as well. I could simply go into apps here and install stuff like Jellyfin and such. Or Plex for that. I guess there's... I think they don't offer Jellyfin, but yeah, it'll be easy to run. Oh, there it is. I could do that, but I don't want to run stuff in this TrueNAS VM. This TrueNAS VM will be solely for running the NAS itself. If at all, I'll run Jellyfin in a VM or in an LXC container on Proxmox directly and access the NAS, which will still be local access, so it's going to be pretty fast. Yeah, exactly. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think of that. TrueNAS does use Kubernetes to run its VMs and containers, so yeah, that's deeply nested stuff. I'm not going to do that. It might be fun, but it sounds like an accident waiting to happen. And having my media library available will be business critical here for the family. So I'm going to run Jellyfin on Proxmox, and I'll access the TrueNAS storage as an NFS storage, I guess. Yeah, why not? Yeah, they might be KVM, at least for the time being. I think I heard someone mention that TrueNAS is in the process or thinking about adding KubeVirt to the system as well. So that would mean that you would run VMs at least using the same management tools like Kubernetes. So you could actually use kubectl to start VMs and stuff. But yeah, as mentioned, I'm not interested in that too much. Okay, so that's going to be one of the next projects, running Jellyfin on Proxmox and accessing the media library from Jellyfin. If I recall correctly, Jellyfin even allows setting up an SMB connection directly from the UI. So that might be an option too. Yeah, I guess I'll research that, what's going to be the best approach to doing that. I don't think it'll matter much if I used NFS or SMB in that case. Good point, Balthazar, good point. If you can use the storage to directly issue PVSs, that's definitely a huge upside. We'll explore this as well because, yeah, I definitely intend to use Kubernetes on this Proxmox cluster, and we'll explore the depths of provisioning storage space in a Kubernetes cluster. Definitely, that's one of the problems that one needs to solve when they run their own Kubernetes cluster. Okay. Oh, my butt is again starting to hurt. I need to really... I think the cushion that I'm using doesn't really help because it invites bad posture. And yeah, I guess I'll throw that out. Let me get rid of that. Not as tall anymore. Oh yeah, the Aeron also lets a bit of air through as opposed to this cushion with its rubber core. Okay, better. The things you have to deal with, huh? So, I would say NAS setup mission accomplished. What I'd like to make sure is that the NAS starts when Proxmox starts up. Not that I want to reboot this machine very often, but if I do, I want the NAS to be online as quickly as possible. I'm not sure if someone already did a study on the acoustic specifications of Aeron shares, but maybe someone should. All right. Yeah, so far I'm really happy with what we have. And I guess adding more shares isn't going to be too spectacular. Maybe let's think of a few use cases. So what do I have on the Synology NAS that takes a lot of storage? I guess it's my home directory, my home share, because I move all my OBS recordings there. So I guess I'll start moving stuff to the home server instead. I'll definitely mount the NAS to my workstation. The Gravity DB. Okay, that gets actually that should get backed up by the Proxmox backup job anyway. So that gets backed up to the Synology NAS already. Thanks for stopping by, Exegete. Have fun and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Yeah, I guess most of the stuff will be starting to copy stuff over. So far this looks very tame. I will see how it will perform under load. Okay, let's take a look at how things look like when I mount this using NFS. So if I open a terminal, will I be able to mount this directly? Let's do mount NAS to homes. Of course, we'll need the -p, of course, because except mount itself, nothing does exist yet. And if I do sudo mount -t nfs mount rust homes to mount NAS to homes. Access denied. I'm mounting. Can we mount a single subdirectory? No, I meant it the other way around. That doesn't work either. By the way, can we use a host name? Not yet. I guess we'll have to reboot TrueNAS, so it uses the NAS2 host name. Let's see. Let's take a look at system settings, actually. General. Blah 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 blah. Is there something where we can set the host name? That's general settings. How about the advanced settings? Yeah, that's more uninteresting stuff. Boot. Okay, that's the boot images that we can actually access. Services like SMB service that we had to start earlier. And shell is an actual shell, right? Yeah. So this hostname is named... Oh, it's named TrueNAS, huh? TrueNAS. What if I want to change that? I mean, that means that I can probably resolve that name. Yep, I can. But I'd rather use NAS2 because there's already a NAS1. It's not that important at this time, but eventually I'd like to change this hostname to something more consistent. All right. Now let's find out what we need to change in terms of NFS sharing here. So I'm actually exporting Mount Rust homes. It is enabled. And it's available to all hosts on the local network. Security is sys. How about we don't use that? Because NFS by default doesn't do any authentication, I guess. Except if that's NFS v4. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's the local network, so I'm not too concerned. But yeah, I just wanted to get this working first. I might actually limit it to specific hosts. To my workstation, for example. But since we're still experimenting, still access denied. What else would I have to do? Let's see if there's some documentation. True NAS, NFS, share. Creating an NFS share on TrueNAS makes a lot of data available for anyone with share access. Depending on the share configuration, it can restrict users to read or write privileges. Note: NFS treats each dataset as its own file system. When creating the NFS share on the server, the specified dataset is the location that client accesses it. If you choose a parent dataset as the NFS file share location, the client cannot access any nested or child datasets beneath the parent. If you need to create shares that include child datasets, SMB sharing is an option. Okay. Not sure if that applies to my use case. Adding an NFS share dataset. Before creating an NFS share, create the dataset. It's best practice to use a dataset instead of a full pool for SMB or NFS shares. Yeah, that's what we did. We have the home dataset. Share type set to generic for the new NFS share. Okay. Use the file browser to select the dataset to share. Let's see what Balthasar wrote. The way I've got my setup in the home lab, so I can export my container workload storage over NFS to my NAS and use the ability to define Docker volumes as NFS exports. They appear as local volumes to the container and get auto-mounted on the container host. It's working surprisingly well. NFS on Windows is worse than only supporting NFS. I would never think of using NFS on Windows. Yeah, I can imagine. If you wish to create the share but not immediately enable it, share settings, edit an existing NFS share, edit. Using the default settings, yeah, I would assume so. Connecting to the NFS share with a Linux OS. NFS share connects with various operating systems. After installing the module, connect to an NFS share by mount TNFS IP address path of NFS share local mount point where share on the tuner as a local directory. That's exactly what I'm doing. Mounts. By default, anyone that connects to the NFS share only has the read permission. To change the default permissions, edit the share, go to advanced options and change the access settings. Well, I would be happy with read permissions for a start. Okay. So that tells me... Oh, wait. IP address? Yeah. I think that's exactly what I'm using, right? Yeah. Mount Rust Homes. We were able to access the home directories using SMB, but not using NFS, strangely enough. And that is the IP address I'm using, right? Oh, wait. I'm coming from an IP address. Yeah, that's a VM IP. Maybe that's the case. Let me try from my own workstation. So, wait, we don't have anything under mount, right? Oh, yes, there is NAS home. Why is the NAS home? But it's empty, okay. So we'll create NAS2 homes. And then we'll try and sudo mount -t NFS. Mount Rust Homes. Mount NAS2 Homes. Ooh, and that worked. Okay, so it was the NAT that got in the way from my stream VM. Let's take a look at mount NAS2 Homes. And there's GWiz. Permission denied because, yeah, of course, there is a discrepancy between user IDs and stuff. Yeah, since we capped NFS to read user access only, and this user has ID 3000. And my current user has probably ID 1000. That's not going to work right out of the box, but that was to be expected. I just wanted to be sure that I can actually mount it. So let's mount that again. And let's also get rid of the other directory that's obsolete. Didn't even know that would still exist. NAS home. I don't think there's going to be an easy way to map that. I'll have to think about that myself, because there's a lot of options that we can take here. Since there's no authentication, we could simply use, we could try and have coordinated user IDs. That brings me back to the olden days when I started using Linux-based servers and stuff, and then I started, of course, using NFS to get file access to different machines on my network. Then I realized, we have a discrepancy in user IDs there. Then I started to install NIS, of all things, if you remember that, to have a central ID management. I'm not really sure if NIS is still a thing. But yeah, so I'll have to think about that. I might simply fall back on simply using SMB for everything, because that'll just solve the issue. Maybe I'll just use NAS for stuff like accessing the media library from Jellyfin, where it's going to be read-only access anyway. Jellyfin doesn't want to change these files, does it? No, I don't think so. It does keep its own metadata database, though. Yeah, I'll either keep stuff very, very simple, or I'll fall back on using SMB. So I might actually, yeah, I'll shut down the NFS share for homes, because that doesn't really make sense. And since TrueNAS manages that stuff really nicely, yeah, I'm going to keep that. All right, so that was a successful administration stream, installing virtual TrueNAS with physical disks on Proxmox. And yeah, I'll think about what I'm going to do with this NAS next. And I guess that's what I'm going to do on my next live coding or live administration stream, which is not going to be on Thursday afternoon, because I have an appointment in the afternoon, so I won't be able to do a stream. And I'll be back for the Obsidian Office Hour stream